Mary, too. Thank you, Mary, for being here and bringing Keith.
In a long time no see. Howdy, everybody. We just rolled in at 3 o'clock this morning, like probably most of y'all. I go to the airport, and it's kind of a trek to get here. But anyway, happy to be here. Happy to see a lot of y'all. I mean, I know most of you here. If I don't, then you're family and friends that I haven't met yet. So anyway, I want to say hi to everybody and tell you thank you for coming. I really didn't know I was supposed to do this until just I just found out. So anyway, it's like, what am I supposed to talk about? I was going to tell you also. I don't know if anybody is a member of SCI or not. Okay. And but I want to talk a little bit about the importance of SCI. Kind of was a cool thing about CWD and kind of what happened with SCI, Spark Club International. First off, for those of you who don't know who I am, I do a television show called Deer and Wildlife Stories. 15 years ago, I walked in this room and I didn't know anybody in here. Okay, but I was a deer farmer and I had raised a lot of deer, and I have been doing a television show for a long time. In 1984 was my first year on the air. But I've been growing deer a long time, and I wanted to do a TV show on deer farming because I thought it was very important that people know the truth about deer farming and what we do and why we do it. And so when I did that, a lot of people said, this is going to be the end of your hunting show career because people are not going to like it and all that. Let me tell you something. The ratings on Deer and Wildlife Stories smoke our hunting show, and our hunting show is one of the best ones on the network. And 15 years later, I'm sitting here like scratching my head going, I don't know how this happened. So if you would have told me 15 years ago that it's going to grow into what it's grown into, I'd say you're out of your mind. Because I never even thought it. I just thought it would kind of be cool to do a TV show on deer farming. Because I think deer farming, we do it for a passion, but it's also a lifestyle. It's a lifestyle. But we are under attack all the time. And 15 years ago, we were under attack. We've been under attack forever, it seems like. I mean, I've read stories about deer farming that are 50 years old. And deer farming's always been under attack. There's always people going to be opposed to deer farming. And I think, why? And so what I want to do on our television show is I want to take stories from different people, whether in Texas or Florida or Oklahoma or Pennsylvania, to the people that don't know what deer farming can do to your family and for your family, because it's really a lifestyle. I mean, you know what? We can make money at it. That's good. It's real good that we make money at it, but it's a lifestyle. I think all of us would have to agree that, hey, it is pretty doggone cool to raise deer. Okay, almost every deer farmer that I've ever been with, the reason why they raise deer is because he couldn't get enough of them hunting. Okay, we hunt them all the time, and we couldn't get enough of it, And so how fun it is, and how frustrating it is, and how intimidating sometimes it is to come something like this. And I think the cool thing about deer farming is that we're all in this family together, and that we're all competitors, but we'll all help each other. And we just have to kind of just realize that nobody knows everything. Where we're at today is so much better than where we were 5 years ago, so much better than we were 10 years ago, and so on forth. And so I think in 15 years, there's no telling where we're going to be. I mean, it's going really good. And so what happened with SCI is a sponsor of a television hunting show. And they just had their annual convention in Nashville. And they asked me to give a seminar, and I said, what do you want me to talk about? They said, whatever you want to talk about. And there's people from 120 different countries there. I don't know if anybody's ever been to the SCI convention. People all over the world. I mean, you name it, everybody's there. And it's like for guys and gals like us that love the outdoors and love hunting and all, it's the most great place in the world to go because you talk about dream trips. Every single booth is a dream trip. I can talk about anything I wanted to. And I said, can I talk about CWD? And they go, you will? I said, yeah, I want to. So they advertised it. And anyway, I thought I didn't prepare for the talk at all, because I have lived it, okay? And we all live it. If you're not living it, you're going to, okay? And we're trying to help tell people what to expect. And so anyway, I wasn't expecting very many people to come. Last year, I gave a talk about air guns or something. There'd be 4 people in the room, but, So this year, all of a sudden, Sean showed up. It was almost standing room only. It was unbelievable. People, from all over were there. Was anybody in the room? Anybody in here in the room? Mary was here. Where's Sean? Okay. I stand up in front and I'm looking like, holy crap. There's a lot of people interested in CWD. They were from Colorado and from Wyoming and from Texas and Tennessee and everywhere. And I started out and I told them who I was and what I did. And I said, I'm not a scientist. Okay. I'm just a hunter that absolutely loves white-tailed deer, and I ask a lot of questions. And I said, I think it's the biggest bunch of bull crap ever, and I'll tell you why. And so I went to what's going on and how, what's going on in Texas. I'm from Texas, and I mean, what's going on and how different states handle it differently, how it's kind of like COVID. And at the end of it, there were people standing there wanting to talk to me more. They had to run several rooms for the next seminar to go on. And I was blown away. Well, I wound up the CEO of Texas Trophy Hunters was in there, and she told me, she said, you gotta come tomorrow, because tomorrow at the exact same time, in the exact same room, they're gonna have all these guys that are scientists. They're the fish and wildlife regulators. They're gonna be in here giving a talk. How many people were in there?
I was there, 18.
Okay, we smoked them.
And out of those 18, 6 of them were staff of SCI.
We smoked them. And I said, look, if anybody wants to ask me a question, I'll try to answer it. I'm smart enough to know I don't have all the answers. And if I don't know the answer, I'm not going to bullcrap you. Okay, I'm going to tell you I don't. But I do have a lot of answers. And so I had guys from Colorado, and I think, you name it, they were asking questions. And it's like, I just answered it honestly.
Not one negative question.
Not one negative question. Not one person said anything negative. Not one. And there were people there, I guarantee you, I mean, from the crowd, I could tell, he's a regulator, he's a regulator, he's a regulator. And I gave everybody opportunity. If you want to ask me a question, call me out, please. Call me out. Nobody loves deer more than we love deer. Nobody. Period. We want healthy deer, happy deer, and big deer, wealthy deer. I mean, healthy deer. You know, we want to make money at it. So what's wrong with that? Okay? And so CWD is a real issue. Okay? And if you don't have it in your state, it's like there was a lady from Indiana, remember that lady? She said, we don't have it. Where are you from? She said, Indiana. I said, you got it. No, we don't. Oh, yes, you do. You just don't know you got it yet. Okay. And it's like, well, what are you talking about? She says, I raise fawns and deer. Hey, I raise fawns, and what do you think's going to happen? I said, there's no telling what's going to happen. But 100%, you're going to find it. You're going to have it. And so you've got to get progressive. And then I hear from different people say, well, the wildlife agencies are getting along good with us right now. I think, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? The regulators. Okay, science, that man right there is the smartest man in the room when it comes to this. Okay, Dr. Seaberry. And let me tell you something, he has given us hope. Never in 15 years have I ever been more optimistic about the deer industry, period. It used to be Brown, you know, you want great big bucks, you know, sell stockers, make some money. You better, if you're not breeding for the breeding values now, the genomes, you are making a mistake. And I mean, I'm just telling you. Now, there's going to be better research coming out from Dr. Seaberry's, but right now, that's the best there is. And this is always a moving target. It's always trying to move in the right direction. But right now, we know, and the numbers show what's going on. Has anybody ever heard of the Ox Ranch? Okay, the Ox Ranch wound up, we did a story. If you haven't watched it on YouTube, look, first off, our TV show is on the Pursuit channel. It's called Deer and Wildlife Stories. Okay, we only do 13 a year, but we're on the first 26 weeks. So we run 13 weeks, we rerun 13 weeks. And we will visit farms all over the country, and we do a feature about what this farm is about. Who started, what the family, what part of the family runs it, the husband, the wife, sometimes the kids. Why is it important? How they start, you know, where the deer come from, how do they make money, all the things that people want to know. And it's the most unbelievable tool as far as getting the word out about how cool deer farming is. And so people want to watch it. Because everybody aspires to live in the country, most people like us. They want to live in the country, they have marginal pieces of property, they want to live the country life. And if they can make some money on a piece of property without having a $300,000 piece of farm equipment, you can do it with very little equipment, very little acreage, and you can have a good lifestyle and make some money. But if you're not breeding for the CWD protective, you know, deer, you're making a mistake. I'm just telling you. And so what we wound up doing is, and there are people that, I mean, I always want to put myself in somebody else's position. There were deer that were getting, I don't know, 15 years ago, there were people that were getting, I mean, PA drone, somebody's $20,000 for a straw PA drone. $20,000 for one straw. Okay. Well, I mean, there's deer that sell for $10,000 a straw now. I mean, still some of these older deer. But if you take a look at the breeding values on them and all, they aren't real good. Okay? And a lot of people don't like to hear that. Okay? It's like dealt what you're dealt, okay? And when he winds up does the research on it, the study, you get your numbers back, you have no idea what you have. Where's Vanessa Nelson?
Vanessa's not here. You're just
I saw.
In Italy.
Vanessa's in Italy.
Did they have Italy and stuff?
She didn't. Vanessa's. No, Vanessa Nelson.
No,
No,
she was an SCI, she was an SCI.
Okay, she's from Wisconsin.
Yes.
Okay, Rush Whitetails, I think is what it is. They've got this unbelievable deer. I'm talking, and we're gonna be going up there this summer doing a show. I said, what's his genome and what's his score? I don't know. What? She says, I don't know, and I'm not picking on her, but there's a lot of people like her. And this buck is like he's a toad. I said, you need to really send him in and get him tested. I said, because if he's good, he's worth so much money you won't believe it. And all it costs is what, $80?
75.
75.
Free.
And,
In Wisconsin, it's free.
and it's simple to do. It's like, why wouldn't you want to know? I would want to know. Okay, somebody, I have to believe that somebody is sitting on a deer that is worth so much money and they don't even know it because they haven't sent samples in. I mean, think about it. I mean, there's somebody sitting on straw semen in their tank. Somebody's sitting on a fawn that's sitting there right now. Somebody's got a fawn in the oven right now that could change our industry, that could be worth a lot of money. I mean, a ton of money. But you'll never know till you know. And so if we've got a program through NADAR to be able to gauge these deer and tell you what their breeding value is, wouldn't you want to know? Okay.
If they're not good,
Yeah, and if they're not good, just get rid of them. Just don't breed them anymore. Okay, it's as simple as that. Okay.
or breed them to something.
Or breed them. Okay, somebody asked me the other day, said, I got a straw, and I'm not going to name his name because he's a $10,000 straw singer. And he's a GG with a positive breeding value. What would you do with it? I said, I'd put him in an SS doe, okay? And then we'd test the fawns, okay? SS doe is the lower breeding values you get. And keep your fingers crossed, say a few prayers, and then when that fawn's born, you test that fawn. And hopefully you got a GS doe or a GS buck with a low breeding value. And if you do, wonderful. And if you don't, guess what? Get rid of it. That's all. Get rid of it. The GG deer are not going to hurt you as long as they're in the tank. I mean, the semen's not going to hurt you as long as it's in the tank. But if you got a GG deer, you're going to let him get old and he's on the farm and he's line bred. That's the one thing. I mean, years ago, think about that. All these deer, they were all line bred. All these big ones, they were so-and-so and so-and-so and so-and-so back on top of so-and-so. And it was this tight breeding that's the reason why with NADAR, well, they had to change the way that they were doing pedigrees because the breedings got too tight. And so they changed that, okay? And now research shows that this tight breeding can contribute to the breeding values being bad and the deer not being as protected. And so I wound up, I'll tell you, a little story about me, and I wound up, I did get locked down for CWD, okay? I didn't have it, but I got locked down. It takes a part of my life. A friend of mine, Chuck Frazier, he insisted I take the deer from him. He insisted. I said, Chuck, I don't want your deer. And he wouldn't stop. I said, okay, I'll take him. And so he brought 3 does over, and he let him go. He put him in my pen. Okay, fine. The next day, I let him go. Okay, on my hunting range. Because I didn't want him. Okay, but I didn't want to piss off Chuck, and Chuck was insistent I take the deer. So I put him in my breeding pen, turned around and let him go on the range. And a year later, Chuck pops a positive. So I get a call from the director of Parks and Wildlife, and he says, you're locked down. You're locked down. We got to come kill those 3 does. I said, those 3 does are already dead. We shot them during hunting season. I didn't want them. We shot them. Oh, okay. Well, we got a surprise for you. You're going to live test 100% of your animals, 200 by the way, 100% of your animals in your pens, rectally and tonsils, both. Okay. And we're not going to give you any slack. You're not going to get 98%. You're not going to get 95%. You're going to get 100%. And if they don't test, bang, we'll test them that way before you can release any deer. Is there anything else I got to do? Oh yeah. And by the way, for the next 5 years, you're testing the animals that you kill out of the pasture because we can't get our hands on those 3 does. So I'm still locked down. I had to test hundreds of deer, and all that money myself. I paid myself. All right. And guess what? Not one positive. Not one. Okay. And the thing about it is, it's like, I wound up, I didn't know where my breeding values were. I had no idea. Okay, because I was just breeding for big deer, like probably most of you. Okay, and then when all of a sudden it's like, I better check this out. So I sent them all in. I got them back. It's like, holy crap. Okay, I got lucky. I had like 26 does out of all my does that were really good. I mean, good. Okay, there's guys. I mean, that was a large percentage. The rest of them I got rid of. Okay, but getting back to Chuck Frazier, Chuck got out of business because they came and killed everything. He had thousands of straws of semen, thousands. And he called up, he says, everything you've done for me over the years, I want to give you everything in the tank. And I said, you don't need to do that. And he said, no, I want you to have it. And I started, and he says, and he sent me a list from Champion, and he had hundreds of bucks names and thousands, 10,000 straws. Now, 15 years ago, I would have been absolutely nuts. I would have been, oh my God, I got straws of Rolex. You know, probably, that deer's so old, probably most of you have no idea who Rolex is. Okay, but years ago, everybody knew who Rolex was. It was a big deer. Okay, and I got all the Rolex and all that, and I could tell you all the deer that were on there. And I sent them all in. Not one was worth breeding. Not one. And you know why I sent it in? Because I thought certainly the odds are that somebody's got to take just one of those deer has to be good. One. And yeah, it took a lot of money, okay, to do all that. And I appreciate this man right here for helping me do it. But let me tell you what happened. Okay, after the numbers got back and I looked at them, not one good one. Okay, and like I said, I had semen out of some of the best known, most popular bred bucks in the industry. You know what I did with it? One of my guys goes, God, how much you gonna sell that for? I said, I'm throwing it away. Why? You could sell it. I said, because it's wrong for our industry. I don't want anybody in our industry breeding with that crap. Okay? Because that is going to hurt us. Then I think we need to police ourselves. And yeah, I could have sold it out for a quick buck, boom, just like that. And I needed money just like anybody else. I just live tested 200 deer. But I threw it away because it was the right thing to do. Okay, and so I think you're going to make hard decisions when you start doing this breeding value stuff. You are. You're going to look at these deer that you absolutely love. They've done good for you. They may not have the right numbers, and the numbers don't lie. And if the numbers aren't there, I would highly advise not to breed them. So, anyway, I have learned so much from coming to these conventions and listening to people and sharing stories. Because we all have problems, we're all frustrated at times, we all have deer that are dying, we all have deer that, you know, that we can't believe they didn't die, they just came back. We all have issues with EHD or, you know, hoof rot or all these different issues. And we're all here to help, okay? And that's the cool thing about it. I mean, we can be competitors, but we can also help each other. And that's what this convention is about. And so, you know, I love coming here every year, meeting new people. And I love the fact that, you know what, as deer breeders, I don't think we're the problem at all. We are the answer to the future of the whitetail deer. Just imagine if someday the states start allowing us to release deer out of the wild. Just imagine that. And there's no reason why they wouldn't, except that it's political. And if you don't think that hunting and deer farming and fishing and everything that you do is political, you're mistaken. Okay, we want to do a thing. I've been doing this a long time. And when you talk about politics, people just turn it off. And it's a shame because this is all politics. It is. And when you go to a cattle and you stand there like he does or like I do, and you listen to all these people are making decisions. They don't know the difference between a mule deer and a catfish, and they're making decisions on what we're doing. Okay, and so if you don't think it's political, you don't want to get involved, you know, then I think you're making a mistake. We are an army that needs to be unified in our message. That we need to be strong. We need to be positive and optimistic. And we have the science, thanks to that man right there, thanks to Nadar. We have the science to be able to take us to the next level. So all of a sudden, when we do have politicians that are listening to us and say, no, we can show you the Ox Range story, please go watch that on YouTube. We have the Deer Farming channel on YouTube. We've got a lot of videos on there. All of our past TV shows are on there. Go and look at it, and it's the ox range story. And just in a nutshell, what they did, they bought a buck from a positive herd. They didn't know it was positive. Okay, bought a buck, put him in, and bred a bunch of does, and everything was good. Life was good. It's the only buck they never live tested. Only deer they never live tested. And they had, was it 1,200? I think 1,200 deer they had. A bunch. There's a bunch. Okay? The only deer they didn't live test. Okay, they brought it in. And about a year and a half later, the breeder they got it from pops. So they called the Ox Ranch up and said, you got to kill that deer. Well, that deer had been sick, chronically sick. They thought it was respiratory issues. You couldn't get it well. So they had to knock down the deer. That deer was positive. Okay. That deer had already bred, had fawns on the ground, and it had already been in multiple pens. So they wound up going, this is all on the show. They went, killed the deer, killed everything that all the bucks that deer had been with. They killed all the does that were exposed to it, all the fawns that came out of it. They've tested for, was it 3 or 4 years now?
3.5 years, almost now 3,300 total tests.
And so CWD is so contagious and it's such a bad thing. You know how many other positives you got? It's 0.
Yeah, but there's a reason for that. If they would have done nothing.
Yeah, but what it is, thank God the owner of the Ox Ranch was wealthy enough that he could do this.
Yeah.
Okay? Because if he wasn't, we wouldn't have this information. And then people go, well, how'd that happen? And they'll be the first to tell you, you really got lucky. The deer, they just got lucky. Okay, I had 26 deer in my whole herd that were like really good. That's a lot. Because it won't take me long to have 200 from those 26 that are bred right. Then I'll have them all good. But if you don't know, you don't know. And so the Ox Ranch just had some really good genetics to start out with. Okay?
That's why it didn't take off there.
Yeah, they were protected. These deer were genetically better than other deer and were less susceptible to being able to catch the disease.
Yeah.
And it's a shame because they went in there and killed so many deer testing for the deer. Okay, testing for the disease. So when you start thinking about it, you think the Ox Ranch story, all these other ranches that are out there that have depopulated, you think, what a shame. But now we've got a way out. And it's getting us out. Okay, any more in Texas? I mean, I haven't heard, like we got a case a week ago or whatever, then another one popped, and there were like 65 or 6 breeders that got locked down. Many of them, this is like the umpteenth time they've been locked down. Okay, but we're making progress, thanks to that man right there, and thanks to the breeding value. So honest to God, folks, if you get in the deer breeding business, please take my advice and find out what you have. Don't buy a deer unless you know the breeding values on it. I mean, unless you've got some other kind of plan. Okay, and then you're going to have people in Facebook. I'll tell you about Facebook a little bit. God, I hate Facebook. I hate it.
You're on there all the time.
I have to be. I have to be. And the thing about it, we have to be on Facebook because that's where people consume their stuff. That's where they get their stuff. The problem is people put lies out there and mistruths. And they lead people to believe one thing is really not the case. Okay? But we have to be on Facebook. Okay? I just did a bunch of podcasts with a bunch of other TV outdoor people. And every one of them feels the same way about the digital media world as I do. It's awful. These people say things that they'd never say to your face. And it can be a good thing. Facebook can be a good thing. But when you start talking about breeding values on deer, you're going to have some people on Facebook going to get in there, well, so-and-so had an SS deer and it got positive. You know, so his theory is all wrong. It's like, come on. You know, okay, what was the breeding value on the deer? How long had the deer been exposed? I mean, there's a lot of questions that need to be asked. So when people read something on Facebook, they automatically assume that's just the way it is. There's a lot of questions that need to be asked. So my father used to always tell me, he'd always say, consider the source. Somebody says something, consider the source. Do you respect them or not? Ask questions. And that's the reason why when I went to the SCI deal, I said, I just asked a lot of questions and I want to hear the answer. I remember up in Wyoming years ago, I was up there deer hunting, and one year went there dead deer everywhere, all over up the Little Powder River, the Little Missouri River, I'm sorry, dead everywhere. And John Recher, he says, look, don't tell anybody, it's got to be that CWD.
What do you mean? He says, it's gotta be CWD. I don't want anybody to know when I got it. It was EHD. Okay? But people get EHD and CWD confused. And I mean, I see that all the time. You know, I mean, all the time. Because I get so much crap from people online. Oh, they got that deer. Anybody ever see that deer going around in circles with the, you know, the eyes gouged out? He's on digital media. I mean, it's been going around for years and years. Okay? People say he's got CWD. You can't tell he's got CWD. Okay? And a lot of this stuff, anybody ever played that around with AI? Have y'all not done anything with artificial intelligence? Any kind of stuff at all? Seriously. I hadn't either until January. And a girl that works for a company that I do some stuff for, she said, you haven't played around with it? No. And we were at the Dallas Park that day. She says, you haven't played around with AI at all? I said, nope. This was frightening. It'll scare the hell out of you. She says, well, you write a lot. And I says, yeah. And she says, what would you like to write a story about? I said, I don't know. I said, I guess about long distance shooting. And she says, how long you want to be? I said, 500 words. She says, any particulars, any calibers, any, no. And in 3 seconds, she had something that was so good, printed out on the deal, just like I did write it. Better than I could write. In seconds. Okay, this AI stuff is out there, and I'm thinking, it's fake. I didn't have anything to do with it, but I could take that back and send it to a magazine, and they publish it. That's just stuff that goes on Facebook. I think a lot of that stuff is fake. Okay, this is an ask for references. Ask. So anyway, I appreciate y'all being here. I'll be here the entire time. Thank you for your information. If you want to watch the show, guys,
Thank you, Keith.